The story began on Earth 828 at the Fantastic Four's headquarters, where Reed Richards was searching for something important. His wife, Susan Storm, then gave him incredible news. She was pregnant. Reed was overjoyed and could not believe it, as they had been trying for 2 years to have a baby. However, he was also incredibly worried, given their cosmic radiation exposure, and he was terrified that their child might not be okay. The movie then shifted to The Ted Gilbert Show, where Reed was explaining the Fantastic Four's origins. He recounted that a year prior, a family of researchers, Reed, his wife Susan Storm, Ben Grimm, and Susan's younger brother Johnny Storm, had ventured into space. There, they were exposed to cosmic radiation that altered their DNA, transforming them into superpowered beings. Reed stated that they were now dedicated to saving the world, especially New York City. He mentioned that they had already captured villains like Mole Man, who loved to dig underground, and had even defeated Red Ghost and his super apes. He also added that Susan had become a wise leader, successfully uniting all nations under one organization called the Future Foundation. Back at their home, they had a super smart robot named Herbie. As they were preparing dinner, Ben noticed something different about Sue and Reed. Sue confirmed that she was pregnant, and everyone was thrilled by the news. Word quickly spread to the public, and Reed immediately instructed Herbie to prepare everything to ensure their baby's safety. The biggest question on everyone's mind was whether the baby would have superpowers. Later, Johnny gave Reed some new spacesuit designs. While looking at them, Reed picked up a highly complex signal from space. He then showed off his new teleportation machine, which this time was using an egg as its test subject. He noted that the machine needed a massive amount of power. Johnny tried to listen to the space signal again, but found the language completely indecipherable. Seeing Herbie building the baby's cradle, Sue gently encouraged Reed to prioritize the baby's well-being by getting him to build the cradle himself. Reed was very paranoid that their baby would be born with issues, but Sue reassured him that their baby was completely normal. On Halloween, Ben returned to his old neighborhood and entertained some playground kids by lifting a car. The school teacher, Rachel Rosman, thanked Ben for cheering up the children, and it was clear that Ben was interested in her. Back at the Baxter building, Reed announced that he had discovered numerous villainous organizations and ordered the police to take them down, all to ensure his baby's safety from future threats. Suddenly, a silver-colored alien surfer appeared. Johnny immediately chased after him, arriving in the middle of New York City. This creature was the Silver Surfer, and he delivered a chilling message. Earth had been targeted for destruction and would be devoured by an entity named Galactus. The Silver Surfer then flew off, and Johnny chased him into space. However, Johnny ran out of oxygen and fell back to Earth, though he managed to catch a few words the creature spoke. Everyone was naturally confused. Reed confirmed the truth about Galactus, revealing that 5 planets had already vanished in the Proxima Delta galaxy. They discovered that the Silver Surfer was currently on a planet called DA773 with Galactus. Rather than waiting for Galactus to come to Earth, they decided to confront him first. Johnny recounted his pursuit of the Silver Surfer, mentioning the strange words he had heard, and he expressed his intrigue with the alien. In his room, Johnny listened to the recorded space signal and realized it was the same language the Silver Surfer had spoken. In the lab, Johnny was thrilled after Reed built him a new spacesuit that was heat-resistant and had plenty of oxygen. The Fantastic Four then reassured everyone that they would go find Galactus, and it was announced that Sue would be the first pregnant woman to travel into space. Boarding the Excelsior rocket, they headed into space to protect all of humanity. The launch was successful without a hitch. Everyone on Earth was relying on the Fantastic Four. They landed at an FTL space station, and from there, Ben immediately drove through a wormhole to reach Galactus's planet. Their primary goal was to take a sample from Galactus. Finally, they arrived at planet DA773. At first, nothing happened. Then, suddenly, a creature emerged from within, destroying the planet. They managed to avoid the debris, witnessing the planet's complete annihilation. They were then drawn by a red light coming from the creature, which scanned Sue's unborn baby. The Silver Surfer then arrived, informing them that Galactus wanted to meet them. It turned out their current location was Galactus's ship. Herbie was quickly ordered to take a sample. A silver woman led them to Galactus, explaining that he devoured planets. Johnny asked what the Silver Surfer's words had meant yesterday, and she explained that they meant die with what you have. Finally, they came face to face with the terrifying cosmic entity, Galactus. Galactus knew they were from a far-off planet, and Reed immediately tried to negotiate, pleading with Galactus not to come to Earth. Galactus instantly stated that he would not devour Earth if they handed over Sue's unborn child. Sue and Reed were shocked. Galactus explained that the child possessed immense cosmic power that could satisfy his unending hunger. Suddenly, Sue went into labor. Reed refused to give up his child or Earth to Galactus. Johnny tried to buy them time so Reed and the others could escape, but they struggled, especially with the Silver Surfer there. Luckily, they managed to reach their rocket quickly and escape this terrifying place, though the Silver Surfer still chased them. Like in the movie Interstellar, they attempted to dock their rocket with the FTL station and successfully used the wormhole to get away. They thought they had escaped, but the Silver Surfer was still pursuing them into the wormhole. Sue told Johnny to take out the Silver Surfer. Unfortunately, the Silver Surfer was invulnerable to everything, so Reed used his intelligence to bait the Silver Surfer into a black hole. With no other choice, they lured the Silver Surfer into the black hole, even though it would cause them to experience a month of time dilation. Unable to hold out any longer, Sue gave birth in space. With insufficient fuel, Ben planned to use a black hole slingshot trick, similar to Interstellar, to get them back to Earth. Ben assisted with the delivery inside the wormhole, and finally, the baby was born in space. They named the baby Franklin Richards. Earth welcomed the Fantastic Four with joy after their month-long absence. Everyone was thrilled to see Sue, who had given birth to a baby boy. Reed immediately held a press conference, bombarded with questions like, "Did you defeat Galactus?" Reed explained that they couldn't defeat Galactus. They only negotiated with him. He stated that Galactus wanted their child, and Reed and Sue refused to hand him over, which understandably angered the public. It turned out the Silver Surfer had survived. He apologized to Galactus for failing to bring the baby. The Fantastic Four were stumped on how to defeat such a massive entity. Reed had no plan either, as Galactus's technology was beyond their comprehension. Using a quote from Archimedes, they realized they needed a lever to save Earth. Meanwhile, Johnny told Sue that the Silver Surfer's language was the same as the recorded space signal. Johnny planned to translate the language so they could communicate with the Silver Surfer. Reed tried to find out if there was anything unusual about Franklin. Meanwhile, Galactus's ship had entered the solar system. Chaos erupted on Earth due to the news of Galactus's impending destruction. Citizens demanded that the Fantastic Four surrender Franklin to Galactus to save everyone. People were rioting outside their building, and Reed was swayed, thinking they might save Earth if they gave up Franklin. But Sue, of course, refused. She knew Reed and how he thought, and she wanted him to prioritize their family. Reed promised to find a solution without sacrificing Franklin. Sue stepped out among the protesters, holding Franklin. She recounted her family's past struggles and reassured all the citizens that they would work together to save the world without handing their child over to Galactus. They would defeat Galactus together. Reed finally devised a plan to save Earth. He wanted to use his teleportation device to move Earth so Galactus couldn't find them. Reed presented his plan to the world, stating that they would build bridges that would unite across the globe and teleport Earth. Sue spoke to all the world leaders, explaining that they needed materials like plutonium to build these bridges. Since it required a lot of electricity, they shut down all electricity on Earth for the next 20 hours to conserve power. Reed told Franklin that he didn't want him to be like himself. He wanted Franklin to be a normal human. But if Franklin did have cosmic powers within him, Reed wanted to know. Franklin just wet himself. On the other side, Johnny was diligently translating the Silver Surfer's language. With his perseverance, Johnny mastered the language. They immediately connected all the bridges around the world to teleport Earth. But suddenly, the Silver Surfer arrived, destroying the bridges they had painstakingly built one by one. Johnny tried to catch the Silver Surfer and used the language he had learned to distract him. After repeating the name Shalabal, the creature stopped. The Silver Surfer's name was actually Shalabal. Johnny could communicate in Shalabal's language. Shalabal was from a planet called Xandar. He used to be a scientist on his planet, and when Galactus came, he surrendered himself to Galactus so that Galactus wouldn't devour his planet. The only planet Galactus hadn't eaten was Xandar. Johnny tried to make Shalabal feel guilty by playing him the screams of creatures whose planets were devoured by Galactus. Johnny just wanted to save Earth, but Shalabal told Johnny and his family that they must leave Earth because Galactus could not be stopped. They refused to abandon the people of Earth. Everyone, naturally, panicked. A confused Reed had an idea to bring Galactus to them because there was one bridge left, located in New York. This was their only way to defeat Galactus, and to lure him there, they would have to use Franklin as bait. With no other choice, they would endanger their child to save Earth. They built a special cradle for Franklin and had to lure Galactus across a line, which would endanger people's lives. Sue asked Herbie, now seemingly possessed by Mole Man, to evacuate all New York City residents underground. Everyone was evacuated into the underground shelter Mole Man had built, which he called Subterranea. Ben also took a moment to visit Rachel and express his interest in her. They then placed Franklin on the bridge, and Galactus descended from his ship into New York City. Galactus initially tasted the Earth's soil. Then, he immediately sensed Franklin's presence and headed straight for him. They managed to blind Galactus for a moment and quickly replaced Franklin with an empty cradle. Meanwhile, Johnny successfully brought Franklin back to the Fantastic Four building. Galactus continued toward the bridge, but unfortunately he realized Franklin had been moved and changed direction. Their plan was in chaos. They tried to prevent Galactus from reaching the Fantastic Four building. Reed also tried to hold back Galactus with his powers, but he was tossed around like a rubber toy by Galactus. Luckily, Johnny and Ben arrived just in time and saved Reed. But disastrously, Galactus reached and got Franklin. Galactus immediately took Franklin to make him his successor. Seeing her child threatened, Sue used all her strength to stop Galactus, pushing him toward the bridge. Sue didn't care about herself. She told Reed to save Franklin. Galactus was overwhelmed by Sue's power. The portal appeared, and Reed finally saved Franklin. Meanwhile, Galactus was successfully pushed through by Sue. Thinking they had won, Galactus returned from the portal. Johnny planned to sacrifice himself to stop Galactus from returning, and then Shalabal sacrificed himself, taking Galactus away. They immediately rushed to check on Sue. Sadly, Sue was unconscious and no longer breathing, leaving them all heartbroken, especially Reed. For a final goodbye, Reed placed Franklin in his mother's hand, and to their astonishment, Franklin's touch brought Sue back to life. Franklin had powers far beyond theirs, and ultimately they all survived. Everyone in the world was overjoyed and welcomed the Fantastic Four as their heroes. As they were about to appear on the Ted Gilbert Show, they got another call to duty. Meanwhile, Ted Gilbert announced that they were now the Fantastic Five. Reed, Ben, and Johnny struggled with Franklin's baby carrier, but once they managed it, the five of them headed off to protect all of humanity on Earth. In the mid-credit scene, 4 years later, Franklin had grown into a highly intelligent and genius child, just like his father. He told Herbie to get his favorite book, but Sue was surprised by the appearance of someone who had come to see Franklin, none other than Dr. Doom. The post-credit scene did not show anything. It just showed an animated Fantastic Four film, and then the movie ended. So, what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you in the next video.